Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Queen Gaming. Just so you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of Kingsguard, the Andros' Path. So anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go. Alright. The High Priest was explaining to us about strange things in the kingdom. Alright. The time varies by person to person. Some are in there for less than a few minutes, others upwards to an hour. Your case is quite peculiar. No one has ever been in there for that long. But I can tell that you will be someone truly special. Those that have spent the most time in the water have grown up to become great achievers. I'm not really getting this. Perhaps you should ask me something more direct then. Pool of Light, Dream, Miracles. I want to know more about why that pond is so special. Do you recall the tale of how it came to be revered as it does today? The god and goddess of the past traveled here during their pilgrimage to put a stop to the war. They had hoped to prevent a great battle from beginning here, but they were too late. The city was already destroyed by the time they arrived. Yes, thousands were killed, but they did manage to stop the battle from claiming any more lives. But they gathered the people that remained from all sides of the conflict and began a rebirth of the city. This land should have been impossible to revive. They were gods, not humans, and people began to slowly gather back into the city until it expanded into what it is today. But the only reason this place became so famous was because the gods bathed in the waters below. I don't see how people would decide to revere it as they do now. If all it's used for is baptisms, what makes it so special? And it's also shut out most of the populace anyway. Why? You witnessed firsthand what happened when you entered the waters. Do you not think that alone makes it a place of worship? As for the common public, what do you think would happen if more people learned of what these waters could do? If several thousand people all entered the pool and were granted a vision similar to your own, would they not want to return and learn more? Knowledge is a dangerous thing. If in excess, it will poison one's mind. The founding rulers from long ago realized the dangers that this pool could bring to the land that had finally learned what peace was. People would fight and kill over this, so they forbade all from entering. But only those of royalty or with the church can enter. It seems like they only wanted to keep the knowledge of what the pool could bring to themselves. I can't say that all of their actions were just and impure. But given what power the water can give, it was right of them to do so. For the past several centuries, the pool has only been used sparingly. For even an apostle to enter the waters, they must be within the church for at least 10 years. For royalty, it is limited to when one raises to become a king or queen. It still seems quite suspicious even now. If word got out what these waters could give, then trying to calm the populace would be nearly impossible. It is good that many have a lot of faith in the royal line. Your father has been a fair and just ruler, and the people love him for it. It feels like I'm lying to the whole country if I remain silent for learning about something like this. Even I wouldn't be able to stop you if you choose to reveal the truth. Like a news warned you of the consequences that could ensue. Dream. So others have had some weird sort of dream as well? Everyone who has entered the pool has had a different experience. It is a tradition for all those hoping to follow the gods' teachings, but whether or not they tell us what they saw is up to their own discretion. But some have told us of things we would have never believed had they not come to pass. So, if they had a similar experience like me, what did they dream of? It is not a dream, young prince, it is a vision. Something come to pass, or even something already known but not revealed. There's a difference? It would be difficult to explain, but I suppose I could try. There was one particular individual who had a vision of a drought that would plight the land. We were skeptical at first, yet he alone did something about it. I was quite young at the time, only an apostle with a few years under his belt. I was surprised to find that he was telling the truth. Or rather, the pool gave him the knowledge to avoid such a disaster. But that's simply a dream. It likely would have ended in some fantastical way, but a vision is direct and seems to hold a single purpose. So, you know, coffee time. Alrighty. That purpose was warning us of danger to come. I don't even think I could make sense of what I saw. It was just complete insanity. It felt more like a lucid dream than anything. Thinking back on it, that vision you had made it difficult to distinguish whether you were having a dream or not. The memories of those lives you lived were now gone. But they still deeply disturbed you and almost made you forget yourself. And there was a thing that talked to you, almost as though he was interrupting you or something. He said he was going to get there. Was that here? You couldn't explain it, but you had some creeping suspicion that whatever happened there was just some trick of the mind, no matter how you tried to piece it together. So, you and my father both also bathed in there before? Yes, though for me it was quite some time ago. I can still recall it as though I were looking in a picture book. So, what was it about? That, unfortunately, has not been for your ears. Miracles. You said that the Pool of Light is a place where miracles occur. What do you mean by that? Before I answer that, tell me, what is a miracle to you? Well, if I recall, a miracle is just some extraordinary event, typically derived from divine intervention. In all honesty, I don't really believe in miracles. They just seem like a weak cop-out to natural phenomena that could be explained with time and research. So, you don't think that what happened to you was a miracle? I don't have the knowledge to explain what happened to me. In that case, you will probably take this with a grain of salt. What happened to you? A miracle wouldn't be the right word to describe it. Hallucination was my first guess. If it truly were that, we might have to get you to a doctor. It would be a disaster to have a raving man ruling the kingdom. Alright, so then what would you actually call it? Not many know this, but miracles is just the word that we have adopted to call such events. But that is not the entire truth. The last gift the god and goddess bestowed upon us before they left was a special power, though they neglected to give us the tools and knowledge to properly utilize it. They had another name for this mysterious power, and we went to call them miracles. Magic. A miracle is something none have control of. It can happen wherever and whenever. It is fickle and masterless, but magic. The god and goddess only taught a few they believed could use this properly, and without evil intent. Magic. Really? Next you're going to tell me that these magic users are witches and wizards. Do you take me for a kid to be gullible enough to believe that magic actually exists? To put it frankly, yes. And these individuals could be considered witches and wizards. Wielding such a power opens up infinite possibilities that have the capability to alter our own world. But that was centuries ago, and that knowledge might as well be considered lost. All that we have now with us is the pool and the other sacred locations of the world as relics of the past. And even then, we still do not know how to properly use them. Though I only fear what may happen if we did. This doesn't sound like anything spoken of in scriptures. That is because this knowledge is not needed to be known to the common man. But you're willing to tell me this? There are many out there who would deny this claim. I only told you of this because you asked and is connected to the pool in some way. Of course, regardless if you believe me or not, knowing about magic and being able to use it are two separate things. I would imagine one would have to spend longer than a human lifetime to study and learn it, but there is always the possibility that a record exists. At that point, it would be up to those that read about it to believe in it themselves. So why tell me then if it's pretty much useless? Perhaps it's because I feel as though it's something you should know. Whatever you saw wasn't mere coincidence. You might have been shown something because it was planned all along. It's like, water time. Or coffee time. Oh, that's good coffee. So what you're saying is that I'm either being guided by destiny or someone is making my life choices for me. What a way to live. One more question before you go. How's it you learned of all this? Some knowledge is best left out of the hands of the many. I can't tell you where I learned what I know, unfortunately. But you were willing to share it with me? It seems contradictory, doesn't it? Know that it is because I can trust you with this knowledge. Of course, it would be foolish to explain all that I know. Not that we would have the time. Not even the apostles know of this yet, and I doubt any of them may ever. No faith in them? Simply know what I have told you of this because you are the one who must know. You had to know about all this? Sooner or later, you would have asked about all this. Is that what you saw then? Me asking these questions and you telling me the answers? Just make sure that if you do share all that you now know, that it will only be with someone you would trust your life with. I fear that I have used up too much time here. I have a lot of preparations I must make for tomorrow, as do you. Jake, you have a great ordeal ahead of you. It will be painful, and there will be times where you will have to make choices and decide for yourself what is the lesser of two evils. Stay strong, not just for the nation or your ideals, but for yourself. It truly was an honor to meet you. I do hope your future stays bright during these troubling times. The High Priest got up, and after a quick bow, he was off. You could tell that he wanted to say more, but he didn't seem as though he didn't want to, but that he couldn't. I guess I can't blame him for wanting to keep some things to himself. If I told anyone what I just saw, they would think I was some delusional madman who needs to be sent to the hospice. But maybe I should have. It certainly would have helped me figure this mess out. I knew I should have pressed for more answers. Suppose there's always tomorrow. I'll get the full truth out of him. For now, I'll just take a little rest. I felt your weariness return as you once again went back to lay down on the couch. Jake, time to get up. Oh, Koshiro was leaning especially close as you opened your eyes. You took a look around and found that you were still in the waiting room. Despite how you were feeling before, you felt fully refreshed as you leaned up to properly sit on the couch. Where did you go? I wasn't allowed to stay in the sanctum during the rite. You couldn't have just snuck back in? Not with that many people, no. Did you really want me to watch you get undressed? What? No! It just would have been nice to have someone that I knew around in case I was attacked. I mean, my father has a target on his head. You don't think that I wouldn't have one too? You were in no danger. I felt that you were in capable hands. That was the High Priest, after all. And his weird, cloaked, and oddly mysterious apostles. I thought for sure one of them was going to grab out a knife and stab me. They were all inspected for weapons before entering the castle. The High Priest included, though it took him a bit of convincing. And I hid nearby stairs as a precaution regardless of what they said. What? Hid nearby? Oh, God. So then you did see me! I turned away, if that is what concerns you. Anyway, how are you feeling now? I wanted to assist you once I saw you beyond the door, but they were quite adamant about helping you themselves. I'm feeling better now. How long have I been out for? Just a little over an hour. I've done nothing today but sleep. I apologize. I should have awoken, but you looked weary. So then you've been watching me sleep the entire time as well. Is that a problem? Should I have waited outside the room for you? Well, I mean, it's kind of weird if you were watching me from the shadows, so to speak. You've always done that, though, so I guess it's a bit late to complain about it now. You stood and stretched. Is there anything else planned for today? There is the rehearsal coronation, which will begin in a few hours, but other than that, no. Second Hill, water time, or coffee time. Oh, yeah. So, I have quite some free time then. The king did tell me that you were not allowed to leave the castle. What? You know how dangerous it is right now. What does he expect me to do then? Anything you want, as long as you don't leave the castle. Is that why you're here then? I won't let you leave either. You really like to be my father's watchdog, don't you? I'm sorry. Forget it. So, I take it Marilyn and Esther aren't back yet? Not since you left them at breakfast. Well, I got nothing to do then. Do you have any suggestions? You're asking me? Yeah. Despite how long I've known you, I can't say that I really know you. What do you like to do in your free time? Free time? I don't suppose I ever really had much time for myself. I don't think I will be much help for you there. There's got to be something that you did for fun when Father was asking you to do 20 tasks at once. I suppose I train. Do you find that fun? It's necessary so that I can keep the two of you safe. That doesn't sound like something you do when you want to unwind or let loose. Like for me, I'd love to head out to the city. There's just so much to do and see out there, all sorts of people to meet. Maybe along the way I might turn the corner and stop at Rose's Cathedral. I've never done anything like that. Oh, come on, like gambling, horseback riding, getting into bar fights? I suppose I meditate. Meditate? Taking some time to think, or rather letting my mind wander. God, now I feel really bad for you. Oh, excuse me. Why? All you do is work. Even as a kid, that is all I've seen you do. Did you ever once play with that ball I lent you? I did for a time, but I suppose I never truly cared for such things. I still have it, though, if you would like to have it back. I think I've outgrown that. It's gotta be years old, though. You can just toss it at this point. What? If it's alright with you, I would like to keep it. Do whatever you want. If it's a ball you want, though, we can always get a new one. This one will do, but thank you. You're welcome? I think I got something we can do, then. I'll go and see if any of the servants in their quarters have a deck of cards. You don't have any yourself? Leandros is the one who holds them, since he was the only person I played with. He was the only person who actually wanted to play with me, really. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It was super thanks. Your tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.